Students of 9th standard, very pleasant morning. Once again, welcome back to the biology class. Today the class is presenting you by your biology teacher, Mrs. A. Chitra. We are discussing unit number 20, that is organ systems in animals. I hope you would have remembered the various parts of the digestive system that we have learnt in the last class. The various parts of the digestive system or the alimentary canal are mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum and anus. The glands related to the digestive system are salivary glands, pancreas, liver, gastric glands and intestinal glands. Today in this session we are going to learn the functions of digestive system. Let us see now. The food we eat contain not only the simple substances like vitamins and minerals, but also complex substances such as carbohydrates, proteins and fats. The body cannot use these complex substances unless they are converted into simple substances. For that, the digestive system converts the complex substances into simpler substances so that our body can use them. So, how the digestive system works? The digestive system works in various steps. That means the nutrition process includes ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and digestion. Simply if you say ingestion means nothing but eating, digestion means breaking the food into smaller substances, absorption means taking in of the nutrients, assimilation means using the nutrients by our cells and tissues. Digestion means after digestion, the unwanted substances are removed from our body. Now let us see one by one how it happens and where it happens. So the first process is the ingestion. The process of nutrition begins with intake of food. That is called ingestion. Ingestion means nothing but eating. The second process is the digestion. The breakdown of large, complex, insoluble food molecules into smaller, simpler, soluble particles by the action of digestive enzymes is called digestion. I repeat, digestion is a breakdown of large, complex, insoluble food materials into simpler, soluble substances by enzymes. That is called digestion. The digestion may be mechanical or chemical. The mechanical is also called physical or chemical. What do you mean by physical? Physical digestion is nothing but simply the largest particles of food are divided into smaller pieces. Chemical digestion means the large, complex, insoluble molecules are converted into smaller or simpler soluble molecules by enzymes. I hope you would have understood. Physical means just like a mixie or grinder, how we are grinding the food. Like that, the big pieces of food are converted into smaller pieces and become paste. But chemical digestion means all the large molecules like protein, carbohydrates, fats are converted into very simpler soluble molecules, that is maybe fatty acids or glucose. So that is called physical. It may be physical digestion, but both are involved in the digestion, physical digestion as well as chemical digestion. Now let us see the digestion in mouth or buccal cavity. We know that buccal cavity contains 3 pairs of salivary glands. The salivary glands secrete approximately 1.5 liters of saliva per day. The saliva contains many substances such as amylase, mucus, lysozyme, etc. Here, the digestion of starch starts in the mouth. In the mouth, both physical as well as chemical digestion are carried out. An enzyme called amylase or ptyalin converts starch into maltose. The substance lysozyme acting as an antibacterial substance. Now, the food is chewed and converted into a paste-like structure called bolus. Now the bolus is pushed into the another structure called pharynx. Pharynx is a short tube behind the buccal cavity. It serves as a pathway for the movement of food from mouth to esophagus. But here there is an important structure is there that is called glottis. The glottis is an opening found behind the pharynx. It is guarded by another flap-like structure or a lid-like structure that is called epiglottis. The epiglottis prevents a food particle enter into the windpipe or trachea. Now, from the buccal cavity, the food passes into the pharynx. From the pharynx, the food passes into next part called esophagus. In both pharynx as well as esophagus, there is no digestion, simply the food is moving into stomach. The esophagus is again a short tube of 22 cm in length. It conducts food from pharynx into the stomach by a movement called peristalsis. Now, the food is pushed into the stomach. We know that stomach is a J-shaped muscular organ. Here the food is retained for a few hours. The inner wall of the stomach are provided with minute glands called gastric glands. The gastric glands produce some chemical substance that is called gastric juice. The gastric juice contains hydrochloric acid, pepsin and mucus. Now let us see one by one what is the function of pepsin, hydrochloric acid and mucus. The pepsin is a protein digesting enzyme, but it is in the form of inactive condition, that is called pepsinogen. When the hydrochloric acid is produced, the pepsinogen is converted into pepsin. We are discussing now functions of hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid converts pepsinogen into pepsin. Then the hydrochloric acid also kills the bacteria swallowed along with the food. And mucus in the gastric juice protects the wall of the stomach. Now, the action of the gastric juice and churning of the food in the stomach converts the bolus into a semi-digested food called chyme. The chyme moves into the intestine slowly through the pylorus. I repeat what's happening in the stomach once again. Stomach wall produces gastric juice. Gastric juice contains hydrochloric acid, pepsin and mucus. Hydrochloric acid kills the bacteria. Pepsin digests the protein. Mucus protects the wall of the stomach. Now the food is passed into the next part called small intestine. Now let us see digestion in small intestine. We know that the small intestine is the largest part of the alimentary canal. It consists of three parts: duodenum, jejunum and ileum. The duodenum is a C-shaped and receives the bile duct from liver and pancreatic duct from pancreas. The small intestine serves both for digestion and absorption. It receives the bile from the liver and the pancreatic juice from the pancreas in the duodenum. The intestinal glands secrete the intestinal juices. What is intestinal glands? The wall of the small intestine contains minute glands or unicellular glands. They are called intestinal glands. They secrete a chemical substance called intestinal juices. The intestinal juices contain lot of digesting enzymes. The liver cells secrete bile, which is temporarily stored in the gallbladder. Bile is released into small intestine when the food enters in it. The bile contains lot of organic, inorganic substances as well as bile salts and bile pigments. The bile salts are sodium glycolate and sodium tauroglycolate. The bile pigments are bilirubin and biliverdin. The bile salts help in the digestion of fats by bringing about their emulsification. Emulsification means conversion of large fat droplets into smaller ones. The bile pigments are nothing but breakdown products of red blood cells. Now, the pancreas acts both as an exocrine gland and an endocrine gland. The exocrine part of the pancreas releases pancreatic juice, which contains three enzymes such as lipase, trypsin and amylase, which digests fats, proteins and starch respectively. I repeat, there are three enzymes in the pancreatic juice, that is lipase, trypsin and amylase. Lipase digests fat, trypsin digests protein and amylase digests carbohydrates, that is starch. Again, the liver contains the bile salts used for emulsification of fat. Now, the intestinal glands secrete intestinal juice called succus entericus, which contains enzymes like maltase, lactase, sucrase and lipase, which act in an alkaline medium. The four enzymes in the intestinal juice are maltase, lactase, sucrase and lipase. I would like to once again repeat the functions of enzymes in the intestine. Pancreas releases an enzyme called pancreatic amylase, which converts starch into maltose. Pancreatic juice contains another enzyme called trypsin, which converts protein into peptides. Chymotrypsin converts protein into peptones and polypeptides. Pancreatic lipase emulsifies fat or digests the fats into fatty acids and glycerol. So the four enzymes from the pancreas are pancreatic amylase, trypsin, chymotrypsin and pancreatic lipase. Now intestinal glands secrete four more enzymes called maltase, lactase, sucrase and lipase. Maltase converts maltose into glucose. Lactase converts lactose into glucose. Sucrase converts sucrose into glucose and fructose. Lipase digests fats into fatty acids and glycerol. Now, both the mechanical and chemical digestion is over. In mouth, mechanical as well as chemical digestion is carried out. Stomach also, as well as small intestine. So in three places the food is totally digested, but more than half of the percentage of digestion is taking place in the small intestine. Now the small intestine is doing another function that is called absorption. Then how the small intestine absorb the food? Inner wall of that means inside of the small intestine, there are minute finger-like projections called villi. They are just 1 millimeter in length. This is used for absorption of food. They are approximately 4 million in numbers. Internally, each villi contains fine blood capillaries and lacteal tubes. So here in the small intestine, the food is absorbed, that is nutrients, all the simpler molecules are absorbed. Absorption is a process by which nutrients obtained after digestion are absorbed by villi and circulated throughout the body by blood and lymph. Lymph is a colorless fluid. We know that blood is a red fluid. Like this, lymph is another liquid that is colorless fluid and supplied to all body cells according to their requirement. And this is the structure of the villi. It is found inside the wall of the small intestine. It is used for the absorption of all the nutrients. That is, carbohydrate or starch is converted into glucose, protein is converted into amino acids, fats are converted into fatty acids and glycerol. So here all the nutrients, that is glucose, amino acid, fatty acids, everything is absorbed by the villi and the nutrients now mixed with the blood. Now, after absorption of all the nutrients, the extra substance, that is undigested part, enter into the large intestine. So now what is the function of the large intestine? The large intestine absorbs the water content of our food. We know that large intestine contains three parts, that is ascending colon, transverse colon and descending colon. But at the end of the large intestine, there is a small structure called rectum, is the last part which opens into the anus. It is kept closed by a ring of muscles called anal sphincter, which opens when passing stools. The undigested are, actually we are at the end of the process. The last process is egestion. Till now we have completed ingestion, digestion, absorption and assimilation. So let me say what is assimilation. Assimilation is nothing but the incorporation of the absorbed food materials into the tissues and cells. We know that we are absorbing glucose. So in the cells, glucose releases energy. Our blood absorbs amino acids. So the amino acids again converted into proteins, which protein our body wants. So like that is called incorporation of the absorbed food materials in the tissues and cells is called assimilation. So now the last part is last process is the egestion. So now what is egestion? The undigested or unassimilated portion of the ingested food material is thrown out from the body through the anal aperture as fecal matter. This is known as egestion or defecation. Egestion is nothing but sending out of undigested waste substances from our food. Till now we have discussed the process of digestion. The 5 steps involved in the nutrition are ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and egestion. Thank you children. See you again.